This was shocking to see. And by this, I could just simply mean Victor Wembanyama, okay? He dropped 40 points and 15 rebounds on our head. He was doing otherworldly stuff. But guys, this is a Dallas Mavericks podcast, so I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about Wemby. So when I say this was shocking to watch, really what I'm referring to, the San Antonio Spurs, who came into the season with concerns about shooting and just their offense being able to run, they dropped 122 points on our head. Okay. It's ironic because the Mavericks at the same time came into the season with aspirations to be a top 5 defense. And I'm here to tell you the Spurs dropped 122 on us while only hitting 8 3-pointers. So we're going to talk about like what in the world happened, how they did that, and maybe what we should be looking at fixing in the next couple of games. And by the way, I'm not going to be sounding the alarm. I will be shelling out some advice today, okay? Because I am your host, Ethan, the advisor, Clayton, and this is Your Mavs, a Dallas Mavericks podcast where all are welcome, but y'all better behave. Now, as I said a moment ago, we're going to start with breaking down what was seen on the basketball court last night, okay? Again, let me pull up the exact score. I should have it memorized by now, but I don't. But here we go. 125-92. So I already stand corrected. I said 122 points a second ago. It was worse. It was 125. And obviously, Wemby put on an otherworldly performance. Okay. That's to be expected. And I'm even going to take that a step further and say, maybe it's not just us that is going to get punked on by Wemby this season. I think he has firmly placed himself in the MVP conversation after one game. 40 and 15 is just silly. And the ways that he was getting those points, I've never seen anything like it before, even though I've watched Wemby before. Okay, he has taken another leap in his game. He's hitting 4-point plays. He's doing like reverse windmill jams and one type of situation. Wild stuff. But what I didn't like, by the way, there's a lot that I didn't like about last night, but I'm not going to choose to focus on the negative. It's one game where we move. But listen, the big thing that I didn't like was, I briefly mentioned this already, the Spurs only hit 8 3-pointers. So 24 of their 125 were from 3-point land. Where did all the other points come from? There was a dominating performance of grabbing points in the paint, and it wasn't just Wemby. Now, he did a lot of the damage, but we also saw Stephon Castle break down our point of attack defending like almost every possession, okay? He would get a little contact. He didn't care. He just kept going, and he yammed it on our heads a few times. He drew a foul more times than I care to count. And thank goodness the San Antonio Spurs cannot shoot free throws, all right? Or else they would have put up 140 on us, okay? I don't like thinking that what we put such a high priority on and you know, saying defense wins championships and we're going to have the double big lineup to clog up the paint for the Spurs to walk away with that many paint points. Something's got to give here. Now, again, it's Wemby. I'm going to chalk it up as Wemby doing Wemby things. Okay. But I need to see more effort on defense. I need our closeouts to be faster. We just looked a little bit slow on defense, right? We looked shell-shocked. We looked like we were maybe out of hope, like midway through the third quarter, when it was just like, well, Wemby's doing his thing. We're not hitting our shots. We're going to call it a day, right? And after that, it just really felt like there was no momentum except for one of the bright spots when Ryan Nembhard was on the court. Okay. That's one update that I'm going to talk about that may even lead into a rumor. He was one of the only bright spots last night. And he didn't put up huge numbers. He played 15 minutes, scored 8 points, had 5 assists, a couple of rebounds. But it was the all-out effort that I was seeing, okay? It was the assertive nature of driving the ball directly into the belly of the beast, like looking Wemby in the eye and then dropping a floater on him, okay? Like it was really cool to see. He did not back down from that challenge. And coincidentally, when he was on the court, the ball was moving. We had a actual floor general, right? That is not throwing shade at Cooper Flagg. I think he did an okay job. He didn't log any assists, even though he was the starting point guard. He had a few turnovers, but listen, he was being asked to do a lot, and Stephon Castle is a pest on defense. Like, no, I'm not even gonna harp on Coop about that. The only thing I'm gonna mention about Coop that I take away as a negative is that he was entirely too timid on offense, especially in the first half. Okay, I think he maybe got his he got a little bit rattled seeing what Wemby was doing to everybody else, and he made business decisions each time he took the ball to the hoop. Like, oh, Wemby's here. I'm gonna look to get somebody else open, which is not a bad idea, right? You don't want to see Wemby put up 10, 12 blocks, and it very easily could have happened. But going back to Ryan Nembhard, the rumor that I'm going to start here. Maybe it's just a take. Maybe I don't fully understand the definition of rumor. I'm starting a rumor that within a couple weeks, Ryan Nembhard will be our starting point guard. And for Mavericks front office, like, I advise you, let's figure out this two-way contract thing as soon as possible. We're going to need Nembhard for more than 50 games, just based off of what I'm seeing last night. I'm trying not to overreact to too much here, but yeah, to overreact in a good way, we need Nembhard to get like at least 15 minutes a night, like he did last night. It was fun to watch. Another rumor. It's less to do with the Mavericks, right? And I think I already mentioned it very briefly. Like, Wemby is firmly in the MVP discussion now. Okay. What does that have to do with the Mavericks? Because this is a Mavericks podcast. Well, I think I mentioned it earlier. We're not going to be the only ones that get pumped by Wemby like we did last night. Okay. We're not the only ones that are going to get 40 dropped on our heads. He is doing otherworldly things. He is constantly leveling up his game. So maybe we don't try and take too much away from this first game, because we were seeing just stuff we've never seen before. Okay. Again, even if you've watched Wemby before and you've been blown away by it, this is another level. This is another tier of superstardom. Okay. So moving right along into the trade discussion, I don't know if I necessarily want to keep Daniel Gafford on the chopping block today, okay? Because one of the big takeaways from yesterday's game was that Derek Lively picked up 3 first-quarter fouls, right? So he was in the doghouse like super early. I think he only had 6 minutes logged in the first half. Not good. And then AD found himself in a position of having 4 fouls in the first half. Wemby was just giving us all sorts of fits. So there's only one Wemby. We don't have to be too worried about another 7'7" guy scoring 40 on us like Wemby did last night. But the point is still the same. If we're going to have any sort of recurring trend of being in foul trouble, we need that center depth so badly. That was glaringly obvious last night. I don't know that Daniel Gafford would have moved the needle all that much, because, again, the Mavericks dug themselves into a big hole, and it was really, really hard for them to get out of it. And Daniel Gafford getting a couple alley-oops and a couple of nice defensive stops wouldn't have done a ton. But really, any other game, if we're in foul trouble, we need that depth. So, Daniel Gafford, you're off the chopping block for today. Okay. Guess who's being introduced to that hot seat? Klay Thompson. Okay. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here. I've already said it. It was just one game. But I have big concerns about our roster if the guy that we are paying $17 million a year to go get buckets cannot get buckets consistently. He shot 4 of 13 from the field. There were a couple of good looks in there, but I'm telling you guys that there were a lot of those misses that were just bad misses, like barely hit the backboard, didn't hit the rim, like did not look good. He did not seem to have his rhythm. Now we're going to give him some runway here, a little bit of grace. we do expect to see some rust in the season opener. So I'm not going to harp on it too much, but Klay, you're on my radar. if you're not going to consistently get us those buckets that we so desperately need, especially down the stretch when maybe we're not hitting on offense at all, we need to have one guy that we can rely on. Like, hey, no matter what, we know that Klay's going to go get us some buckets. And that was greatly lacking last night. And I think a $17 million contract, I mean, that's a little maybe we combine Caleb Martin's $9 million contract. I don't know who would want Caleb Martin, but that's $26 million right there that we can start to look around the league and say, we would like his services here. At the moment, I'm not targeting anybody specific. I'm trying to let there be a little bit of data, right? We've literally only had one game for most of the NBA teams. I think the Nuggets and Pacers will have their first game tonight. They're not playing each other, but they're having their first games respectively. I want to have a little bit of data before I'm going nuts with the analytics on like who would fit perfectly. We've already talked about Jaden Ivey. We've already talked about Austin Reeves. I've already heard back from a few of you that Austin Reeves is a no-go. Like he's going to be asking for $25-30 million a year, especially if people like Christian Brown are commanding a $25 million salary. Not throwing shade, my man, but listen, Austin Reeves is going to be getting more than that, and I don't know that the Mavericks would or should be willing to pay that if we did in fact trade for Austin Reeves. But I do want to keep my eyes open for guards right now that are hitting at a high clip from three, are assertive bucket getters, and are serviceable as a point of attack defender. We've recycled a few names like Drew Holiday. I'm not trading for that giant contract, but we're going to need to find players that are like that are serviceable on both ends of the floor. And right now, a consolidation trade would slap. Okay, honestly, like again, if we can get a 2-for-1 deal, throw Klay and Caleb Martin in for. Let me do a little bit of research, or actually, you tell me who you would want to trade those two guys for. Who you think could ideally fit our roster after exactly one 48-minute stretch. Okay, so that's all I have for you today, guys. Again, the updates are: we let the San Antonio Spurs shoot 57% from the field. We lost by 33 while only giving up 8 3-pointers because they made a living in the paint. Our point of attack defending was folding like virtually every possession. They were getting easy, good looks. The rumor is that Wemby is going to be firmly in this MVP discussion, and maybe we should give ourselves a little bit of grace because he's going to be doing what he did to us to everyone in the league. Okay. He put the league on notice last night. And then, seeing how Nembhard handled himself last night, I think the rumor is within the next 3 weeks, he will be starting point guard and we will figure out that full-time contract for him. And on the trade front, again, putting Klay Thompson and Caleb Martin on the chopping block. Not that teams are necessarily lining up to have those conversations, but it's, like I said, $27 million that we cannot take in more salary than we send out. So that gives us a good starting point if people are willing to listen to that trade package. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's chat about it. And guys, again, my advice, or actually I haven't said it yet. My advice to you is do not overreact. This one game will be fine. We've got 4 more games at the AAC. I think the rust will start to shake off a little bit. We've correctly identified that AD doesn't need to be doing ISO ball for like half of a quarter. Okay, we're going to be fine. Don't overreact just yet. But do let me know who you want to trade Klay Thompson and Caleb Martin for. And y'all be good today. Peace.